guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry, and as you see in the title, I am doing a Canuary video. So that means it's January 12th, and of course I've done this video in advance so I would be on time and have it scheduled out. But today I'm going to can enchilada sauce for you because that's what I need in my extended pantry. I do not have any more on the shelf. So that being said, I'm going to make my version of it, inspired only by timing, and I kind of wanted an idea of how many peppers I was gonna, good gravy, of how many peppers I was gonna need. I don't like the enchilada recipe in this book, but on $2.94, because it's not really authentic. It's got tomato sauce and other stuff, sugar. Anyway, but the timing and my notes too, I put notes on this because of my dislike for it. So the timing is 50 minutes for pints, and I see nothing in there that I'm using almost all the same. I'm using onions, I'm using garlic, I'm using chicken stock, cumin, red pepper flakes, although I'm replacing the red pepper flakes with chipotle peppers. So, and the rest of it is all chilies, so the timing is going to be perfect. So for pint jars, this is going to be 50 minutes in the pressure canner. It's a low acid food, it needs to be pressure canned. So I need to get my chilies ready, and I'll bring you in close because these guys are my onions out of my garden. Here it is January, and I have onions that are just as firm and delicious that have lasted me all through the fall and now into winter. Can you believe that? I'm growing onions again this year, just saying. All right, so I'm gonna have a big onion bed. Who wants to buy onions if you can grow your own? All right, come on in, let's get some stuff prepped. Okay, so I've got a couple of things going on here. And I wanted to tell you, I've stored these peppers in this modular mate. I want to use the rest of these before I open the new bag, and then they'll be stored in here as well. Airtight, watertight, absolutely wonderful. Anyways, and I believe my link is down below, but my modular mates are on sale right now. January is always the month to buy them. So I'm going to get all the seeds out of these, and so there's you know, take that cap off and then get your hand in here and get all the seeds out. That's gonna go in a steeping pot. Now I do mine a little bit different. I'm gonna steep the peppers here, and then in another pot I'm going to go ahead with my other ingredients, the onion, the garlic, the cumin, the chicken stock, all that. So the peppers are gonna go in this pot here to be steeped. And so I just have to do all these, which will take me a little bit of a minute to get these seed caps out of there. And some of them, I mean, if you do leave some of the seeds in, it can make it bitter. You don't want to do that. And I'm not going to use my steeping liquid. That's why I've got two pots going. Because again, you take a chance of the peppers making your liquid bitter. Okay, so I finished seeding the rest of what was in there, cleaned this out, and now this holds, I opened the bag and used quite a few of these chilies, and but this will hold a 1 pound bag easily. I believe this is a number 4 modular mate. If you guys are interested, and these were the New Mexico chilies, and here's my 5 quart pot, almost full. I'm going to steep these for 15 minutes. That's it. And then I will take them out with tongs and put them into my other cooking liquid, which is going to be chicken stock, onion, garlic, cumin, a whole can of chipotle peppers in adobo sauce, Mexican oregano, yum. Okay, let's do it. So guys, in this water is, and this is a 5 quart stock pot. This is got 4 quarts of water in it, 1 can of chipotle peppers, and I can't even stand over the pot. The capsaicin is pretty strong. They're just smoked jalapenos in adobo sauce, so you can see the whole peppers here. It's gonna be wonderful. Okay, I'm putting down my onions, and I used 4 onions because some of them were small. But onions and tons of garlic, like a handful of cloves. No, maybe 2 handfuls. Hold on. So when the other chilies are done steeping, I'll fish them out of their steeping liquid and we'll put them over here. Another handful of garlic down. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna get to the chicken bouillon. I use Knorr's chicken bouillon, and I'm gonna taste all this, don't worry. But to start with, 2 tablespoons of Knorr's and a good healthy palm or 2 tablespoons of Mexican oregano. You have to have that. It's like, it's not okay if you do not put that in there. You have to have it. And then as I am thinking about it, I forgot I need to add cumin. And cumin is pretty strong. I don't want it to dominate, so I'm just gonna put a tablespoon of cumin in there. Pretty easy, right? And I'm kind of hoping I have some extra enchilada sauce that won't go in the canner that I can use for a recipe this week that I'll bring you along for. Okay, let's get this on the stove and let it start simmering until the onions and the garlic are tender and my peppers are ready to put them in the party. Okay, so the peppers came up to a boil. I turned it off and I'm just leaving the lid on for 15 minutes. I'm gonna set the timer. You don't want it to get bitter, and probably closer to 12 minutes now. And then over here in this pot, I'm gonna bring this up to a boil and let it come up to where I can actually puree that down. Before I add the peppers, I want those onions soft because we don't want to continue to cook the peppers. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of capsaicin going on in here. Anyways, okay guys, I'll be back. Okay, so my stock and onions and everything and the adobo, the chipotle was in adobo sauce. Oh my goodness, it is so delicious. I just tasted the broth and it's got a kick to it, which is good. That's what I wanted, was a spicy enchilada sauce. So I've turned the burner off. Now I'm going to puree with the immersion blender very carefully. Get this pureed, and then we'll add the peppers, puree it, and you can then jar it up or you can strain it. I'm gonna strain it because I want it really smooth. So I'll be back. Okay, so now that that is all pureed up, I'm gonna add the peppers back, and it ended up to be, you know, once I pulled them out of the steeping liquid and everything, about 4 cups of peppers, which I think is gonna be perfect. And believe it or not, there was a lot of seeds that got left behind. So we're gonna I'm gonna puree this, and then I'm gonna get it in this, strain it into another pot, and then we'll get to jarring it up. All right guys, so I strained off my enchilada sauce. It's absolutely beautiful and it tastes divine. It's pretty concentrated, so you could thin it down with chicken stock if you're using it and you wanted to do so. So you're gonna go to 1 inch of headspace, as we do with any pressure canning. It's very rare that you do anything else. In fact, I don't believe I've ever seen a recipe that does anything else. I'm gonna get my next jar over here, and I like to go 1 jar at a time. So I'm gonna dip you can dip your paper towel in water. In this case, I'm using vinegar because the rest of that vinegar is gonna go in my canner. Now, I'm gonna add some button top and some Tatler lids. So here's a button and get a lid. Fingertip tight, okay? And that means it could still, I mean, they loosen up in the canner. You want this lid to be able to vent, but look how beautiful that is. It's gorgeous. Okay, in the canner it goes, and I'll get the rest all prepped. Okay guys, so the jars, 7 pint jars are in the canner. I put the thumb screws on opposites, and then once I got them all snug, semi-snug, then go around and really tighten them down. I've turned my burner up, and these went in a hot canner of about 180 degrees, so we don't have thermal shock to the jars. The jars were warm, and the sauce is warm. There's probably a quart and a half left, which is exactly what I wanted, and I'm gonna put that in the refrigerator once it cools. I'll put it in a couple jars for a recipe coming up. So if you'd like to know what that recipe is and you want to come along for that, leave me a comment in the comment section. This is my little 10.1 All-American canner. So it holds 4 quarts or 7 regular mouth jars. And so when I do pints, I like to do the regular mouth, so especially for sauces and stuff. So then I get a full canner. 7 quarts or 7 pints is going to be a nice addition to the pantry shelf for the next few months. So that being said, as soon as this comes up to speed and it starts venting a steady stream of steam, I'm going to let that go for 10 minutes. That's part of the timing. You can't leave that out. And then after that's done, I'm going to put the weight on, and it's 10 pounds for my altitude here. You can check that on Google, what your altitude is, so you know how many pounds of pressure. Very important to know. Anyways, and then once it comes up to 10 pounds, actually 11 on the dial gauge, and this starts jiggling, I will start my timer and regulate it down here, and I will time it for 50 minutes. All right, so I'll be back when I'm taking them out of the canner, and I let my canner come down very slowly. I let it, I take the lid and kind of let some of that steam out and let the jars acclimate before I ever pull them out of the canner, because I don't want any siphoning, and that happens, and sometimes you don't even see it. It's evaporating. The water out of the jar is evaporating out in thin air, basically. It might come out of the canner looking like it's got a full, jar full, and then, yeah, when the expansion goes away and the evaporation stops, yeah, you're left with more than 1 inch of headspace. All right, so we're gonna say we want, and I'm gonna bring you back when I wash these jars for another video and show you what my headspace is. All right, I can't wait. Oh, yum.